Bam. Welcome everybody to Alion's Joy. I'm very glad to be here on this episode today with an amazing guest again. And thank you for watching if you're on Amazon or on Apple or on Roku today. Or thank you for watching the replay. There's always many of that. And I just really appreciate it when you are finding us on Facebook or social media anywhere. I repost and we just keep going. Today I have Bina on my show, Bina Bendale, I should say, right? Is that correct?
Yep.
Just playing with your last name all the time. I've been doing that. I've been listening. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about this amazing woman that I found recently. Recently, we connected. It's really an awesome connection. And I'm so proud of her. And I want to share with you what she's doing. She's the founder of a corporate nurse coach association. Bina is a holistic approach coach and helps individuals enhancing their health and vitality through small lifestyle changes. As a mother of three special needs children, she understands parents' challenges and offers support to navigate them. Her latest initiative, Supermom CEO, we're definitely going to talk about that, balances professional success with personal resilience, complementing Bina's work in corporate coaching, B2B services, and special needs advocacy. Bina's mission is to bring clarity and wellness to personal and professional lives. Welcome to the show today. I'm going to share all your links and all your information, of course. I'm so glad you are here. As a mother of three children on a Saturday morning, you look fantastic and fabulous. Welcome,
Oh, thank
welcome.
you. Thank
My
you. Thank
first,
you.
my first question is always, who are you? Tell me a little bit about who is Bina.
So, who am I? Wow, I love this question because every so often it changes
Yeah,
because we all are changed with the time of the season.
yeah.
But the past Bina was an ER nurse. I was a bedside ER nurse for 18 years. Worked in different large hospitals. And after I had my first child is when I really had this urge of knowing that I was supposed to be doing something more. And I'm a mom of three beautiful children who chose me. They're the blessing of my lives. And I'm a wife. I love my husband. He is my rock. I wouldn't be able to do any of this stuff if it wasn't for him. And I'm also a daughter, a sister, a friend. And possibly the most fun part about me is I'm a little bit of a hidden magician, or not magician, a comedian.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like
Yeah,
that.
a little bit.
Yeah, certainly.
Don't really see that as often unless you're like in my inner circle or if it just naturally does come
The
out.
stand-up comedian comes out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
then that comes out every so often.
The edutainer. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and
I
I'm an
love it.
entrepreneur. I have three parts to my business. Thank you for mentioning that earlier.
Yeah.
I have the corporate wellness side where I am the first nurse coach to get into large organizations and to really adapt this real mission of mine to really heal from the inside out. And
Yeah.
what I mean by that is people have a lot of silent struggles in their lives. And coming to work can be very challenging. I know it was for me before
Mhm.
I quit. Like there was a lot, they didn't understand, meltdowns and some of the stress levels that I'm having. And, I was always notified as like, oh, there's Bina calling in sick again, or she has to leave early. And it was always being labeled as like the black sheep within it. And then you can hear people talk behind
Mhm.
your back, comes in, and in your head or in my head, all I was saying is like, look, y'all, I'm just trying to get through my day.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. I'm just trying to get through the day along with making money with the passion that I love to do because I love bedside. I will always love bedside. And there was no support for parents with special kids
Yeah.
or the understanding. It is more now because I think I've been talking about it. More people are aware of it, comes
Mm.
in. But the HR directors, they didn't have any support for
Yeah.
people like in these types of situations because we are not sane enough to go to therapy, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then as much as I love the employee assistant program, there's no program out there for parents with special needs. Like they're like I've called, they are like, we don't know how to support you.
Yeah.
And it really came down to those silent struggles that everyone faces, or at least there's always something that people are fighting for in their home that
Mhm.
contributes to going to work somehow, some way. And then, 99% or 95% of work conflict has nothing to do with work.
Yeah.
It's always something that happened at home,
Yes.
triggered it. I didn't get invited to a lunch. I didn't get heard in a meeting.
Yeah.
So and so told me to do the dishes in the break room,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I
Yeah.
really support that part in
Yeah.
there.
I talk about that a lot because I think there's a lot of hidden. Well, I talk about the work-life balance a lot in different corporate situations. I am the victim years ago of burnout, as
Yeah.
I was not aware of that, but I brought it home, of course, and it caused some stress. I mean, it's not nice to come home every day and have your loved ones, and it's all good at home. Even if it's all good at home, it's busy. You know, you have a family life, you have a personal life, but to come home and say it was awful at work every day, right? Could come home with
Right.
that stress. It's not
Right.
fun. It needs to be enjoyable. And
Right.
it has a lot to do with people not respecting what you are doing, or respecting or seeing you or listening to you or hearing what your problems really are, even if that is at work, the way you show up, or if that is at home. Absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Because everyone, at the end of the day, a lot of people really just want to feel heard,
Yeah.
valued, and respected.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are my big
Like, it
words.
goes back
Yeah.
to the three, like, those are my three core in
Yeah.
my entire business, whether I'm teaching other nurse coaches on how to do B2B sales,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or whether I'm talking to parents with special kids, and it's all comes down to the exact same thing. What's your mission? What's your purpose? Especially when I'm talking to other nurse coaches, it's like, how do I make this into reality? It's like, well, if you feel valued, if you feel heard, and you feel respected, and you have a passion that really is driven, like
Mhm.
why won't it sell?
Yeah.
You
Yes.
it won't, it's going to, because it's that authenticity comes out as long as you're doing it for the right reason. Like, I have a very personal story when it comes down to not feeling heard, loved, and supported, whether it was within, the childhood trauma of, like, generational trauma coming in,
Sure.
um, whether it was from my previous work, my employers, where they were just like, we can't support you. You have a choice to quit or this. And I'm like, well, back then I was the breadwinner,
Yeah.
health insurance. I'm like, well, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have, like, there's not a lot of choices. And now it's like with these newer generation, which I'm loving, it's that holistic approach, right? Well, let's talk about things. Let's share our emotions. Let's, have that support where let's go back to grounding. Let's go back to just the 5 principles of life:
Yeah.
eat right, drink water,
Yeah.
sleep,
Sleep. Yeah.
go outside,
Exercise. Yeah.
and
Go
have
outside.
fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
And
it.
laugh a lot. Laugh a lot. Absolutely.
That's
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when I break it down, and that's literally my 5 pillars in my program, there is no secret sauce. Like, everyone's like, how did you make this work? And I said, I just strip everything to go back to basic.
Yeah.
And we forget that the community life, taking your kids out to a park, you know, enjoy the conversations with other moms and dads,
Sit
or
down and
sit
listen and
down,
talk. Yeah.
listen, have them
Yeah.
comes up, teach them about the spiders, even though I don't like spiders. Like, like, that ain't not my, that's not my jam.
Gotta
That's
do
my
it.
husband's jam. That's my husband's jam.
Crocs
Okay.
and spiders. Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that's all my husband.
Yeah.
But it's just like, if you see somebody struggling, right? Instead of going, oh my God, there's that mom again, or oh my God, look at them, like being judgmental. It's more of like, just the other day, I was at a birthday party, and this mom and dad, you can see them fully stressed out. Their child did have ADHD and some other special needs.
Mm-hmm.
And I kid you not, even though I had my 3 children there, right? I was like, you know what, you guys sit down. I'll feed them. Can I feed him? He came around. This kid was like, I want Auntie Bina to feed me. Can Bina feed me? And I'm like, yeah, let's go. And fed the child, and the parents were like, thank you. And
Yeah.
I said,
Yeah.
I was like, there's no judgment here. You guys are frustrated. I saw mom being really upset,
Yeah.
and I've been there.
Yeah.
Like, I've
Yes.
been there. It is
Yeah.
okay to be upset. It's
And I
okay to
love
show
that.
your emotions, and
Yeah.
it's okay to ask for help.
We're a little bit better at that. I am just even a little bit further away from your generation in the sense of the real baby boomers, where we just don't ask for help. We
Right.
don't talk about mental health.
I
And
was right in the middle of
really,
that.
when I really got confronted with myself in that sense, was just like after 40 years being frustrated, being unhappy, and not being able to talk at all. right?
Right.
Or ask for help. So I'm glad that that turned around. I'm glad you bring that up. I have worked in a medical facility, medical clinical for a long time where everybody had anxiety and everybody was going through that work life
It's
trouble.
like
I mean, it was bad. It was bad.
it's horrible. The
Yeah.
the the mental intelligence that we have now, the mental emotional intelligence that we have now is like we're just on the brink of it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I think that's why, and let me explain, if you don't mind,
No,
what a
please.
nurse coach is, because I think a lot of people think I made this up.
No, that was my next question. Absolutely. Yes, that was
Because
my question.
I think a lot of people
Yeah.
think I made this up. Like my
No, no,
my
no,
one of my
no, no.
coaches right now, she's like, I thought you made this up until she did research, and she's like, oh my God, there's like 30, 40, 50,000 of you. And I'm like, and growing in numbers.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So we are board certified nurse coaches, meaning we're the only board certified coaches in the world.
Yeah.
Okay. I want
Yeah.
to make that clear.
Yeah.
And we are registered nurses still. And you have nurse anesthetists, you have nurse practitioners. Now I got board certified nurse coaches.
Okay.
And what we do is we go through a special training to teach people, and we learn more about the holistic approach. And
Mhm.
you can do it within your bachelor's, or you can do it via certification, whichever way. Okay.
Right. Right.
And it is an additional classes if you're doing it towards in your like undergraduate during your, your
Nursing school.
bachelor's or your nursing school, whatever it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Or if they don't want to do that, then you go to nursing, you be a nurse for a couple of years, and then you can get the certification
As a
um,
coach.
as a
Yeah.
coach, and then you're able to sit for the board certified
Yeah.
exam.
Yes. Okay.
And
Yeah.
what we do is we're really teaching lifestyle changes to really enhance or to really go back to the preventative care, so that way so people don't go into the influx of healthcare. So lifestyle changes for diabetics, lifestyle changes for cardiac disease, lifestyle changes for, depression and suicide. And a lot of these things, when
Mhm.
it goes back to the same principles of what I talk about, the feeling of being valued, heard, and supported,
Back
but
to the
really
basics.
and every nurse coach has their own niche and their own different things. We call us nursepreneurs,
Yeah. Yeah.
because we create our own business and we're able to coach. Some people have one-on-one coaching. Some nurse coaches do retreats. Some coaches are now, like I stated, I was the first person to go into corporations and to
Mhm.
really like to break rank of that. Now, my main mission is not only to help organizations with that, added benefit program, but to get other nurses into each organization. Because
Yes.
it's like,
Yes.
how would you feel if you just in your organization had like your own personal nurse? Like,
Yes. 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 Yeah.
it's like
So and it's not
medicine
so
and
it's not just
lifestyle combined.
so it's not just targeted to nurses, but to
No, and
everybody
the
to
entire
be
community.
preventative. Absolutely. Yes. And I
Absolutely.
love that so much. I talk about that all the time. We are still putting out the fires. We're still reactive in so
Yeah.
many ways, and we're not preventative in so many ways.
Correct.
And
And
of
this
course, that
goes
is my
back to
day
that
job.
root cause of
Yeah.
like brain thinking, right? Thought process. Where are we going with our thought process?
Yeah.
Some people really are a great mindset coach in the nurse coaching world. I'm NLP trained, I'm mastery level hypnosis, you know.
Yeah.
And so it's like I'm really able to help people reprogram their negative thoughts into positive
Yeah.
thoughts,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Negative
And then
thoughts come
some
up first. Yeah.
Right, because you got
Yeah.
it. That's where it starts.
Yeah.
And then I know nurse coaches who are beautiful somatic breathwork healers, or they do a somatic movement. And a lot of people realize that when we hold stress, we hold them in places where we may or may not realize. So, for example, like in our hips, for ladies, a lot of the times it can be in our hips,
Lower
right?
back, shoulders,
Lower back.
neck. Yes. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
And so when we learn how to do these specific, somatic movement along with breath work, along with
Absolutely.
some
Yeah.
sort of like healing involved in that,
And
it's such a
positive thinking.
release.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's all gone. And they're
Yeah.
like, whoa, they're like, Bina, what happened? What did I do? And I'm like, you're finally releasing the trauma that you're holding,
The pain that you're
whatever
holding
it
in.
is.
Yeah.
And it could be as big or small, whatever your trauma is. That's the thing. It's your trauma
Yes.
and
Yeah.
you're holding it, and your trauma is your trauma. And only you are able to go up. But here we are as nurse coaches. That's why we're here to help you through that, because we understand the medical side of stuff along with the holistic side. And I think that's why we're 10 times different from any other coach out there, is because we really truly understand anxiety. Like,
Yeah.
we really truly understand
The
PTSD,
physical
the
implications.
physical,
Yeah.
emotional, the
Yes.
how is it
Yeah.
physiological?
Yes.
How does this work in your body? How do you release those extra hormones? But like really understand and gravitate towards it.
Yeah, it's something that I talk about a lot, and a lot of people are still not there. I'm a trauma-informed practitioner and a
Mhm.
somatic practitioner, somatic approach.
Yes.
So I worked with people for years with trauma. Talk therapy will not do the deal.
No.
It's not everything. We have to work through our body. We have to find out where we hold. I always call it find, feel, breathe, and heal, right? So we have to go to those places where that pain settles. And
Yeah.
like we all can, I can see it in people. I can see it when they come in my
Yeah.
practice. I can see it when they are having a certain body weight that they're carrying, right? Where they're carrying their pain. And it's so important to work with that. Absolutely. I love the fact that you bring that up. And you talk a lot about empowering women and
Mm-hmm.
just really embracing who we are, embracing our original, traditional, authentic self, right? And I know
Yes.
those are power words nowadays, but what does it mean to you? Because tell me a little bit about what your story was, if you what you want to share, and how, what is your why? How did you come there to work with women and being so empowering?
So one of the biggest things I am really, really recently, it's been a passion of mine, and I didn't understand it honestly until about January, February of this year. Not that I'm saying I resent men, there's no questions about that, but it's just like I really felt, especially in the entrepreneur world and a lot of other spaces, it's still very male dominant.
Yeah.
Like, it's very male dominant. Like, there's all these things. It's like, oh, you need to get past these males to do X, Y, and Z. Or I was, in a space where it's like, well, you're going to be competing with these men, and I'm like, well, all right, let's go,
Let's do it. Let's go
let's go.
in.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and it really comes back down to when we look at traditional women and traditional men, right? Back to the caveland, back to so like ancient times, women's role has never changed. Men's role has really never changed, right?
Correct. Correct.
Generally,
Yeah.
masculine energy,
Yeah.
feminine energy, meaning
Yes.
the females
Yeah.
generally still cooks, cleans, does the kids'
Caretaker of the
work,
house.
comes
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
caregivers. There's some amazing men now out there. Okay, again, I'm not saying anything, but
But they're
it's a
doing that.
transition. Now
Hmm.
they're getting praised for it. Like, they're like, "Oh my God, you're such a great dad. You took your kids out," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah."
Yeah. A
Like,
house
and this
man.
is,
Yeah.
and even in my own household, right? Where some people are like praising my husband. They're like, "Oh my God, we could have never done this," which is like, okay. But at the same time, it's just like, even right now, my husband's taking my kids to soccer. And
Yeah.
sometimes, like, parents, families are like, "Oh, do you need help?" Comes in, and I'm like, he's a grown man. Like, he
Good.
can handle three
Yes.
kids.
He's an
Like,
adult.
he's
Yeah.
he's an adult. Like,
Yeah.
let's treat him like one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it really started growing, growing, growing. And initially, it was like, especially when I'm home and with my children, I'm working, 40-hour, 30-hour weeks, so however many hours I decide to be. And what happened over time is that in women, we added career, we added entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
but our duties never changed.
Nobody grew with us either. Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, it never changed.
Yeah.
So, like, as men, they're seen as these entrepreneurs, they're seen as these things, but guess what? Their support at home, they're able to travel. And I had this realization a couple of months ago where they were, a bunch of men were on stage and they were talking about parents and being things. And I'm like, well, where are your kids? And oh, they're all with my wife.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my point. They're
Yeah.
with your wife. So you
Yeah.
are able to travel,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah. Same here.
that's really where this whole like revolution really came from. Again, I'm not trying to fight these men. I wasn't comes up, but I was just really trying to make it where it's just like, how would it feel if you put your wife on that stage and
All
really
the
talk about
time, number
parenting,
one. Yeah. Yes.
and let's really talk about parenting,
Yes.
because what men can't do is they can't give birth. They can't hold they can't hold a child for 9 months.
Or breastfeed a baby, or yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Breastfeed. There's certain things men just can't do. So when we talk about parenting, yes, there are very beautiful men out there that's been doing it, comes up, bless their souls. I'm not questioning you at one bit.
Absolutely.
All I'm stating is that society now feeds into that, and you become the best dad year award.
Yeah.
Whereas women have been doing this for things, just even prior to this show. Kid you guys not, I lost track of time. I was making sure my kids had lunch,
Yeah,
my
cooking.
kids
Yeah.
had snack prior to this show, and here I am in my kitchen doing my hair and makeup while
Yeah.
I'm cooking.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. We do that. Multitasking. Yeah,
it's a
absolutely.
multitask,
Yeah.
whereas
Yeah.
men may or may not have, understood that. And
The abilities or the capacity for that. That
but
is
they wouldn't have
absolutely.
had that, like
Yeah.
they would get flustered or they comes in or whatever the situation is, or
Yeah.
they just would have gone to fast food, which again, nothing wrong with that. I would have done the same thing.
Happens.
Honestly,
Yeah.
honestly, today I probably should have done that. But it's just like that's kind of where I want to really acknowledge women
Yeah.
with, you know, like kudos. Let's
Women with a
acknowledge all
personal
these wins.
choice. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's acknowledge these women. Let's acknowledge their self-development. Let's acknowledge that, the fact that we sit in our bathroom some days just to get a mental break away from our kids. I've done that, and I've sat in my pantry and I'm
Yeah.
sitting there eating a candy bar on a call. And
Yeah.
someone's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "I just need a break. Like,
Just to
I
be
really
aware.
need a break.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
Yeah.
hide right here and for 2 minutes
Yeah.
eat this candy bar.
Yeah.
One, because my sugar's about to drop, and two, I just don't want to lose my shit."
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I absolutely.
You know?
Amen. Hallelujah.
Just
Yeah,
don't want to lose my shit.
absolutely.
Like I
Yeah.
don't,
Yeah.
because it dribbles down to your children. And
The problem a little bit is that, sorry to interrupt you.
no, you're fine.
Keep that train of thought, but it is because we always thought, we believed ourselves, and we were traditionally make believe that you constantly have to apologize for yourself if you do that. It's
Right.
not good. It's a stigma. It's not good. It's taboo. You cannot walk away from the kids. You cannot lose it once in a while, or try to not lose it and go sit in the closet, right? And of
Right.
course you prevent your kids from being, visible to that, or being there in the place that you don't have it all together. But it's very normal that we don't always have it together. And I think there was a lot
Exactly.
of women that it's all this, it's beautiful and amazing. It's the same that I always say about the day that we're getting married, right? The best day of your life. Come on, please help me. What
Stressful
the
day
heck?
of your
If this is
life.
the best day, then what's coming to follow, right? I mean, that's awful. And then you have those stigmas, or these crazy stories about, not stigma, but the other way around. Like if you have kids, that's the best of your life and the most amazing, and
There's
all
a
that
lot
stuff.
of
It's
social
just not
stigma that comes with
reality.
that.
That's
It's not.
ridiculous.
I had, like, even now with my house, like everyone's like, I just want people to realize, especially women, you don't have to keep it together.
Yeah.
Like you don't. Like laundry does not need to be done every day. Dishes don't need to be done every day. That's
Be
what they
perfect,
tell
like
us
it's
in
perfect.
society,
Yeah.
right? That's what they tell us in society. They're telling us in these magazines, our house looks like
Yeah.
this magazine
Yeah.
thing, Y'all, this is the only part of my house that looks clean right now. If I turn this around, it's a little bit of a chaotic mess.
It's
But guess
only
what?
camera ready.
The thing is
Yeah.
like, this is what I want people to hear, is that you live in your house.
Yeah.
It needs to be lived in.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you can't have everything go away. I
Yeah.
had a conversation with a woman a couple of weeks ago, and they really had a hard time. They're like, "We can't sleep if there's dishes in the sink."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Interesting. Why?" Just I want to come up. And the root cause was not because of the perfectionism, which is a big problem,
Big
right?
problem with women.
But
Big problem.
big problem,
Big
but it
problem.
was also just like the generations of what being told.
Yeah.
Oh, I would have gotten in trouble if I did this. Oh, this comes up. What would people think if someone came in? And I said, what would people think? Who's coming in your house at 5 in the morning?
I know. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Or
who's
rather
coming
not anybody
tomorrow?
today. Yeah. Needs to be
Like,
alone.
like who's coming?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're like, and even if they do come, okay,
Yeah.
so what?
Yeah.
Like, okay, you got a couple of dishes in the sink, and like, and that's where I'm really going in, where, you know,
To be
with
real.
entrepreneurship, right? And the supermom CEO side of things, it's that you are able, like, I've heard this excuse so many times. Oh, I just can't do my business right now because my husband's here, we're traveling, kids are in school, we want to. And I said, guess what? You can do all of that
You can do
and
whatever you
still
want.
have fun,
Yes.
and you can still maintain a business.
Yeah.
It's what you want to create.
Yeah. And look how easy it even now gets because we're on Zoom the whole day, right? We can do and create so many things
Oh my
for
God.
ourselves. So many, I mean, digital nomad. I just don't want to hear the word anymore, but yes, we can, right? Stop that word already. But yes, we can. We can absolutely if we want to. And I'm so glad that you are empowering women to do so. So tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about the mission of
Yeah.
your business. Yes.
So like I said, there's three parts to my business: the corporate side, the nurse coaching side, and now the super mom slash real life with special kids side. And the mission is honestly, be your true authentic yourself.
Yeah.
Be
Yeah.
the fun
Yeah.
and have fun. I think that's like my biggest mission back is have fun. Like, have fun. How fun would it be if we just had like an adult park where you can go in and be silly and be a kid
Be
again?
kids and yeah, run. Yes.
Run around, comes
Yeah.
up, skip, do
Yes.
cartwheels,
Yeah.
comes in, you know, like, I think as we're getting older, the stigma of like, oh, you need to be professional, you need to be this, please go here,
Put your
you
hair
know,
up and wear a white mama dress. Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
Go to a fancy restaurant and shut up and sit down because you can't interrupt. God forbid you interrupt somebody
Yeah.
across the hallway, with a loud sneeze.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
it's just like, you know, it's like it's
Yeah. No, you're
and that's happened to
so
me.
right. It's so right.
It,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just like, just have fun, enjoy
Yeah.
it, and if it's like not that, if that's not your cup of tea, like, release the judgment, release the shame, release the guilt.
Release the
And
hippie inside. Release the I don't want an adult right now. Yes.
right,
That
it
t-shirt. Yeah. That's
everybody
awesome.
has their own story.
Yeah.
And I think that's really where my big mission is everyone's story, whether it's big, small, celebrity, to homeless, to something else. Everybody has a beautiful story.
I just
And
love
it
the
goes back
timeline.
down to feeling loved, heard, and respected. And
Yes.
if you're able to do that in a fun, loving way, like just like with my Supermom CEO event that I had a couple like 6 weeks ago now. Wow.
Was it 6 weeks ago? I just saw it come
July.
by. I looked at it. So
Yeah.
Super Mom CEO. I love the business title, the name of the business. And you had your first big, big, big event.
I
Love.
did. I
Yes.
did. And
With a
it
lot of women
was
showing up.
and it turned it and it was I loved my event, and I will be having another one, just so I can announce that here and now.
Yeah,
There
good.
will be a second one coming in February of March of next year.
Right.
Uh, and it really is to have women come into the room, release all their judgment at the
Yeah.
door, and
Yeah.
we're not picking it back up. This is the
Yeah.
best part. You throw all your luggage out, whatever you need to go, it doesn't matter. The minute you walk into that room, you are your true, authentic self. It's like the Vegas rule. What
Yeah.
happens there stays there. Yes, I have a videographer, photographer, but certain things we turn the video off just so
Sure.
that
Yeah.
people comes up,
Sure. Yeah.
and you walk out leaving all that guilt, shame things, and you walk out feeling empowered. You walk out feeling like you can be a mom and an entrepreneur, or be a mom and be a CEO,
Yeah.
be a mom and be at bedside, be a mom and whatever it is that you want to create. And you don't need to be a mom. The super mom part is just because I'm a mom and my kids have special needs, why I called it super mom,
Mm.
right? That's
Yeah.
the only reason why the name came out. But it's for any women out there that is looking for like-minded women that wants to grow, cultivate, and be in a great group of networking without people like competitive,
Yeah.
like, leave your
Yeah.
competitive shit behind. I don't need that.
Yes. Yes.
Right. Like, there's room
Somehow,
for
yeah.
everybody.
Somehow I can
There's
do that.
room for everybody. Like,
Yeah.
you're welcomed. And if you feel like you're the black sheep, and I always tell people, if everyone's going right, go left.
Yeah.
Supermom CEO will be right there waiting for you.
Yeah. I love
Yeah.
it so much. I love it so much. And it reminds me of an event I did for International Women's Day around the same time, February, first weekend of March. I think it was this year. Women came, my first word out of my mouth on the podium was, we are just non-judgmental today. And I think it's a somewhat of a girl thing that we carry over in our adult years that of course I've been guilty of at times, but I dropped it years ago. Just I dropped it actually during a Lent period. So what are we gonna drop? Chocolate, wine, or judgment? Right?
Yeah.
Just stop it. It's not about food. Enjoy the things that you want, but it's about thinking a
Yeah.
little bit more about what you're doing yourself, being in the moment, being in that place of gratitude, and not
Yeah.
constantly comparing, which was really
Right.
difficult for me where I came from, right? I wanted to be like everybody else. I wanted to step up to the plate and do it in very
Yeah.
good ways.
Yeah.
No, nonsense, nonsense, nonsense. Just be
Yeah.
ourselves. I love that.
That
Absolutely.
comparison is so raw and
Yeah,
so real. And
yeah,
it's really hard. This is a work in progress, even for me. Like, and I want people to realize, like, I practice what I preach, but it's also a practice.
yeah.
Like, it's not something that's
I'm
just
not
gonna
done.
up
Yeah,
overnight. Like, that's not gonna work. Like, I practice these daily mindsets. I practice these things with my own children.
yeah,
Like, my daughter was helping me, what, an hour ago cooking. Like,
yeah,
because she
yeah,
loves to cook. So
yeah,
she's like, Mom, can I help you? I'm like, let's go. You
yeah.
know, come
Yes,
on, let's do
yes.
this. I was like, can we get this done in 45 minutes? And then she's like, probably not.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
You
yeah. I
were
love
right.
it.
You're
I
probably
love
not.
it.
But we're gonna make it, at least let's try.
Yeah,
You know, we put
absolutely
music
love it.
on. I took deep breaths, you know, and if you saw my video on Facebook Live earlier, like I literally was like,
We're gonna
okay,
be on TV today somehow, and I'm still in the kitchen.
now, like
Yeah.
there's so many
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
going live on TV in about 20 minutes in my house.
But that's what people can relate to. It's for everybody. We just try to hide it all the time with our glitter and our fancy, and it's just not working. It's not real. And
Yeah,
I
don't let this
love that about you so
fool
much.
you
Yeah. No, I just love it so much. Absolutely.
because
We
it's just
are beautiful already. We just don't have to. Yeah.
exactly. Like I'm not walking around with like a makeup artist or comes up, y'all. Like I've learned to do makeup quick and easy.
Yeah.
Um, and we don't have to come up because it's like we don't, and even I honestly like it would have been a time where if I like it is what it is. Like I think
Mhm.
people really need to come up with like if I just came on with my hair the way it was 30 minutes ago,
Yeah.
I would not have cared, to be honest.
Just fine.
I
Yes.
would have been fine with it. I
Yes.
totally would have been,
Yes.
you know, and I wouldn't have released it because it's really being in love for yourself.
Yeah.
If you
Accepting
love
yourself.
yourself the way you
Yeah.
are,
Yeah.
that inner confidence automatically comes out.
Yeah. I remember there's so much that I used to just be so much into makeup and all these things, right? I think the older I get, the more I just drop it and go like, oh, I just feel wonderful. I still look young. My skin's okay. I take care of myself. I do the basics. And I do the love and I do the self-care and I do the things that you mentioned, the meditation or the affirmations or the quality gratitude time in the morning, or just, take a little bit of time for yourself and try to bring that in and
Yeah.
just try to bring that self-love. Absolutely.
Gratitude
Yeah.
is such a big,
Big
big,
thing.
it's a huge one.
Yeah.
People, when you are in the deepest, darkest hole in your life,
Yeah.
you know, whether when I suffered postpartum depression with all three of my children, and I mean severe postpartum,
Yeah.
not the one where I wanted to like hurt my child or comes up, but it was the opposite,
Yeah.
where no one can touch my child. Like I couldn't leave the room, they couldn't be far away from me. Like, you know, they went to the bathroom. I had three kids in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like I had real bad separation anxiety.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest tricks somebody taught me, and I had to even have in-home therapy. Like this is how bad I really got.
Mm.
To a point where I had to had somebody be fully trusted so I can just go shower without my children like bundled
Oh,
up in my bathroom. And
oh, wow,
I have to
baby.
have
Yeah.
eyes on them or
Yeah.
a monitor, you know. So the
Yeah.
only time was really when my mom was over, my sister was over, and my husband.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing that really got me through that was the gratitude. Every day, this person that came in was just like every morning, and this is a practice I still do to this day. I even created a wellness journal around all these different moments,
Yeah.
is always start with gratitude.
Always.
Always
Oh,
start with gratitude. And I tell myself back then, the first thing I told myself was just as easy as thank you for waking up and
mhm.
thank you for taking that breath. Because that's how, so that is where my head was.
Yeah.
How a lot of people don't realize, they may or may not, my husband knows, but how far gone I was, because in the media or in family gatherings and stuff, I was still, because my kids were with me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
I didn't have to feel that anxiety, or I
Yeah.
didn't comes up, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But even in my house, like I remember having therapy in my house because
Wow.
of that. And it was came down to the gratitude. And that's the only reason why I'm stating it, is because it really came down to every morning, my husband reminding me, what are you grateful for? And every day was the same thing. Life, I woke up, I'm breathing, I have you and my children. We're all, and we still co-sleep. Like I still have PTSD from it,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
okay with that. Like we just kind of,
And it's,
you know,
yeah, at some
because of
point,
my
if we
issues
are
that comes up.
accepting, yeah. Yeah.
And well, now my kids got used to sleeping in my room, and now it's like I want them out of my room. I'm like, can you guys leave?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can we
I'm
go?
ready now too for you
Like,
to
can you
go.
go?
Yes.
Like, but at the same time, like, when they're ready, I'm not going to push them. When they are ready, when they come up, like, they will. This is the time where I tell people, like, these times when they're younger, who
Mhm.
cares if they sleep in your room? They're in your room anyways, I promise you, at 4, 3, 4 in the
Yeah.
morning
Yeah. Yeah.
anyways.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have a full
Yeah.
size bed, a king size bed. We have like 4 beds in our bedroom right now. We have a
Yeah.
3,000 square foot house, and everyone sleeps in this 500 square foot room.
I love. Hey, you know what? I love it. I love it. I love it. There's nothing wrong. And that's the whole stigma again. And you should do this with your kids after so many months. And then after so many years, you should do that and yada, yada, yada. I have learned really early on. And that was again, also in a setting where we were all not Americans, let me say it that way, right? So it was a traditional cultural totally different setting. But kids are walking around until they fall asleep. Until they
Right.
naturally fall asleep. They don't have to go at 7 altogether because they're not all set to 7 o'clock or 5 o'clock or 8 o'clock.
Right. Everyone's
They all
set's
have
different.
different rhythms and different bodies and different temperatures and energies running through them and different personalities, right? And so we have to let that go a little bit and let them do what they want to do and what makes you and them feel good. Absolutely. I
I
love
do
that.
believe in structure in my house because my
Yeah.
kids have special needs. So the structure in
Yes.
my house is a little bit more difficult.
Yes.
They thrive on structure.
Yeah.
Actually, in my house, I actually wish I had that problem
Yeah.
where I can be like, yeah, you want to go to bed at 8? Fine. So and so you need to be in bed by 7:30. I would like that would be like my dream world, to be honest with you.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I think in my world with with having the special needs children and comes up structure, and we all love structure. Every human
Every human needs
loves
it.
structure.
Yeah.
Whether it's loosey goosey structure
Yeah.
or strict structure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
At some form, they need to know that you're there at a certain time and you provide.
exactly.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yes,
And
absolutely.
so when people go, well, I don't have structure, I don't live off structure, I said, yeah, no, we do.
Mm,
I can really, if you give me your pattern, I can break it down and I can guarantee you
yeah.
I can find a structure in your life.
Yes. Yes.
Whether that's a routine of every Wednesday I go feed the plant, or you feed your plants, or you do
Yeah. Or
things.
go to somebody or see
Right.
somebody.
You
Yes.
see
Yeah.
somebody,
Yeah.
you see your best friend every Sunday at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Those are all structure.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I think with kids with special needs, they need that more structure. So in my house, we do have a hard stop at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
But that means my dinner, anyone that comes to my house, dinner is at 5 to 5:30.
Sure.
Does
Sure.
not
Absolutely.
stop.
Yeah.
Like I don't like we tell you, if they're like, oh, let's have dinner at 7. I'll see you next time.
Yeah.
You can come for lunch.
Yeah. I can see
Like,
that.
can we do a lunch then? A lunch date then? Because I don't mess up that structure in my house because, and I hear this a lot in my Indian culture. A lot of times it's like, oh, it'd be nice just one day. It's just Thanksgiving. Like, why can't, and I'm like, because that's a whole week.
Yeah. That's a whole
Or,
week. And yeah. 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 Yeah.
no,
Absolutely. Yeah. And then
I
for them to be off, it's so hard to get them back on.
oh
That's
my
not the
God.
problem, to have that time of yay and party, but the problem is how to get back on. Yes, that is
It
difficult.
we
That is
don't even
difficult.
do it. Like
Yeah.
now, like, we've had a lot of guilt over the past, me and my husband were like, we really should spend time with the cousins. We really need to have this. What comes up. And I said, but it doesn't work for us.
Yeah.
They get overstimulated, they come home,
Yeah.
it becomes a shit show in our house. The next morning is even worse,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then like,
Absolutely.
and then I tell him, I said, then me and you don't sleep. The next morning, me and you are trying to like we're cranky. Now me and you are arguing about random stuff that we
Nothing.
generally
Little
don't even
stuff.
argue about,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? And
Absolutely.
now like they're still up at 6,
Yeah.
and they're ready to go out of the house by 8:30. And they're
And
just like, why aren't we leaving? And we're just like, we're trying to roll out of bed. It's like it doesn't work in our house. And I think that's where a lot of like that Supermom CEO event comes in. It's just like you really need to have those hard boundaries.
I was just
And
going to bring it back all the way to the beginning. Yes, because
yeah,
we cannot create and we don't have time to create if we're for 4 hours looking for the scissors or a car keys,
exactly.
right? We can't do anything and we can't move on. And it has nothing to do with the sink always has to be clean and the dishes have to be done. But we
Yeah.
have to be somewhat structured and organized in order to create and move forward and organize
You
our own
gotta
life.
have that
Absolutely.
boundary. Like you have to have that boundary. And wherever I'm a big believer in your house or wherever you live, your home should be your sacred space.
Yeah.
I don't care what you do in your house, like that's all you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the energy you pull in, it's a choice.
Yeah.
You choose what people are invited to. You choose what energy you bring into your house. And if that energy doesn't vibe with you, or if like I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna call my mom out. She'll come in, she's like, man, there's a lot of boxes by the front door, or this has been here for a week, or why is this, or why is that? And I'm like, look, mom, if you want to clean up, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah.
Like,
This is my
you're welcome
house.
to do
Yeah.
it, but
Yeah.
that's not my priority
Yeah.
in this day, in this moment. My priority today is whatever it is that's in my journal that I need to get done.
Yeah.
And those boxes are going to stay there until I can
Yeah.
get to it.
Yeah.
And
And how
sometimes
many
it's a
people don't
week or 2 weeks.
understand? A lot of people don't understand that entrepreneurial drive either, so that there's a lot of other priorities before we have to do that because certain
Right.
things we do a lot more than the average person who just, right?
Right.
Not that they just go to work is not just a job, anything like that, but it's more structured in the sense of, I have to be there from 8 to 4 or from 9 to 5.
Right.
And then after that, I have time for anything else. We are always on. It's different for me. I'm always on 48
You're
hours.
always on. We're
Always
always
on.
doing things. And I think
Yeah,
when you really want to make your business grow,
yeah,
right? And
more
really
so.
go in entrepreneurship, like
Yeah,
a lot of people, especially nurse coaches, and a lot of people are like, well, I've worked 32 hours at bedside. I'm done. I'm burnt out. And then they come into the entrepreneurial side and then they're like, wait a minute, I'm working 40, 60-hour weeks. And I was like, honey, what'd you think it was? It's work. Just like how we went to nursing school,
yeah,
right? To become a nurse, we worked, bedside. We worked our clinicals. We had jobs. We were parents. Some of them were moms, right? Like, but you made it work to get to that level of being a bedside nurse, correct?
yeah,
And they go, yeah. I said, it's the same repeat method or system to become an entrepreneur.
yeah.
You got to start, comes up. Some
Just
people
do
can
it.
do it with grace, and some people, I always say it's the right time, right place, right circumstance, right?
Yeah,
Or their passion, their drive, and their vision is super clear.
yeah,
And those are the ones that are able to go farther faster
yeah,
versus the ones that are still unclear. Their boundaries are not as strong. Their clarity is not as strong. They just want to help everybody and anyone, which I understand. Um, and they don't know how to say no.
yeah,
And I think that's where those ones are the ones that really have a harder time because it's a cycle, right, for them.
yeah.
And that's really where like the Supermom CEO event comes in, is like, how do you break that cycle?
Yes.
How
How
do
do you
you
go a little
break
bit faster? How can you speed it up? And how can you believe? It's a lot of belief in yourself, confidence, courage. Yes,
confidence
yes,
come
all that stuff.
through? But
Yes,
also like, how do you run your life? How do you run your body as a CEO, your world as a CEO. You are born to be a CEO already.
Yeah. Gotta
And
schedule
that
yourself.
habits that you are in your true life, that will always resonate with how you run your business or entrepreneurship. And if here's loosey goosey, here's definitely going to be loosey goosey.
Yeah.
This is more structured, then this is more structured.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to balance both of them, well, then let's cross a bridge of what you can do to compromise on both sides.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's really where the Supermom CEO event really shines is, well, what are you doing at home? And what do you want to create?
Yeah. Yes.
And build it without the judgment of or excuses. I call them excuses. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Like I call them excuses. Like
They are.
tell me
They
like,
are.
oh, I'm gonna wait for my son to graduate. Why?
Yeah.
What if he doesn't graduate? I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, what happens if he becomes the dropout kid that comes up? I don't know. What if
I have that
at
a
20?
lot in my life because, of course, always in person. I also teach classes and people don't show up for too many excuses. It wasn't the right time. I couldn't, I couldn't get there. It's just nobody would bring me all that stuff. I mean, it's just a million, and excuses are, nah, they don't really fly. I am with you. So thank you for being
Because
honest about that. Yeah.
because excuses to me is the lack of commitment.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it. If
Or
you
lack
come
of
to
belief that you can do it and that you want to
living,
do it. Yeah.
whatever it is,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
It's whatever it is. I'm just gonna call it what it is right now. It's bullshit.
You want to do yoga? Oh yeah, yeah. You tell me 100 times, but you don't show up for the 5 classes that I offered. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I
I'm sorry,
know.
my lunch date
Yeah,
canceled, or my meeting went over, or sleep always wins in my world, but
yeah,
I get it. But
yeah,
it's just like, those excuses of like, okay, well, money is a motivator. Okay, I've paid, but yet you still have not shown up.
yeah,
But you paid $100 per a yoga class,
yeah. Absolutely.
and you
Yeah,
just now wasted $500.
yeah, yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you. Yes.
But you want to create a lifestyle change. Well, then maybe let's not start with yoga. How about we start with just walking every day
Yeah,
for free? Everyone has to remember that going for a walk outside your house and getting sunshine is free.
yeah,
Yeah. Let's start slower then.
yeah. Little
Work it
steps.
back.
Little steps.
Little steps.
Absolutely. A lot of people need little steps. Yes, yes. But I
That's when a lot
love
of the
it. I
excuses
love it.
come.
Love it. Love
A
it.
lot of the excuses come out is when it's just too big for them. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
The
That
vision is just they can't comprehend it yet. Yes,
correct.
absolutely.
There's
Yes.
nothing okay. That's all right.
Yeah.
Then let's slow you back down, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And that's where it is. Be in the present of you, in the present of now, and
Mhm.
whatever your now is. And
Mhm.
then, well, she's able to do the cradle and stand on her head. Well, because she showed up to yoga every day for 5 years.
20 years younger.
Yeah, I know an 80-year
Yes.
old.
Yeah.
I know an
Yeah.
80-year-old
Yeah.
who danced until 12 o'clock
Yeah.
at night, and she was just up and biddy up.
Oh,
I was
oh, yeah,
like,
yeah.
damn, okay.
Yeah.
And up at 6 o'clock, ready to go again. So it's like age just not really comes up, but it's the commitment behind it.
Yeah.
They showed up. I
Yeah.
think that's the real big part. A lot of people in entrepreneurship, showing up is the hardest part.
The harder thing. Just do it. Action. Taking action. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. I can talk to you forever. I love it so much. Thank you for today and for so much insight and so much raw wisdom and such reality. I love it. I love it so much. I love your smile. Now, we have to just kind of like finish with your last word. You're gonna get the last word, your little quote of wisdom. If you can think of something that you want to close out with, and of course, where can we find you? Tell me what the easiest way is to find you. I'll put all your links of course, on my YouTube site and everything.
Yeah.
But what is the easiest way to reach out to you?
Facebook Messenger. It is really me in the DMs. Like a lot of people don't think that it is really me.
Yeah.
Yes, I have a team. But it is really me in the DMs. I really like connections. I really like to come up. You can email me. It's binanursecoach.com. I tell people you can go to my website. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram. It is really me in those messengers, LinkedIn,
Yeah.
all me.
Yeah. Yeah,
you
and I'm glad that
know?
you said that because that's a big one. And people think that a lot. Oh, it's your team and you're not doing this and that. I love connection as well. And I love just being there. I mean, that is
Yeah,
really, really answering and reacting and being there is very important to make those connections and that networking. And
yeah.
that's how you find each other. That's how we
That's
found each
that's
other.
how we found
Yes.
each other.
Great
We
networking.
messaged and came
Yeah.
back, and it was really me on a conversation. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie to you, I forgot what win-win was. I was like, wait, where am I going? What am I doing? And then yes, that came back to my team. I'm like,
Yeah.
hold on one second. What did I say yes to? And
Yes. You
then
said
they're like,
yes
oh,
to it. What
wait a
was it? Yes.
minute. Oh, thank you guys. You know, but I mean, like, but that's just how it goes. Like, well, I'm not gonna lie to anybody. Will I forget sometimes? Absolutely. And if I
Absolutely.
don't respond,
Being there.
message me back,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Like, don't think it's like a one and done. Like, I get anywhere from 50 to 100 messages a day, and it's really me like sorting through it, and
Yeah.
some of them get a higher priority depending on what it is. And if someone's like,
Well, you
hey, I
need to
want to
be.
connect, I will get back to you in 2 or 3 days. I
Yeah.
really will.
Absolutely. I'm the same way and I love it. Nurse coach, BinaNurseCoach.com.
Yes.
That's the website.
Yes.
Yes, yes. BinaNurseCoach.com. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, darling. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful you. I'll stay in touch. I'll message you and email you, and you'll get the replay, of course. And we're going to say goodbye to everybody. Thank you for watching today. If you were on today live, thank you for watching the replay. Reach out to both of us. And I really am so grateful for today. Thank you. And thank you, Bina, for being here today. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. Loved being with you.